Hey guys, welcome to the Pugger Reborn channel. We are checking out Battle Brothers dev vlog for the DLC. New lands. Very excited to check out and see what they have to say. But before I do want to just say, everything I say after I read this through is all subjective. It's all about what I believe in these pictures, what we kind of see, and just some general thoughts, and maybe even kind of a wish list thought. So let's jump right into it and go from there. The upcoming Blazing DLC for Battle Brothers will expand and enrich the world with new lands to the south, but it also brings significant addition to tactical combat maps. Let's find out more. The world. With the Blazing DLC, we want to add more flavor and variety to the southern part of the map. One part of the recipe to achieve this is a different geography, and so we're going to expand the world map with new lands to the very south to create one large and continuous world. These new lands are made up of blistering hot deserts, barren rocky hills, towering seas of sand, and a lush jungle that hugs the coast. You'll be able to reach them both by traveling as far south as your feet can carry you, or by taking the sea route from the northern port town. Pretty cool right here. Nice little rocky, I don't know, rocks coming out of the sand. Who knows, maybe we'll see some tremors out here. Anyways, even though the world combat is going to be larger than frequent autosaves, and Iron Man mode will actually become faster thanks to some paralyzation. Paralyzation. Yeah, we're all going to get paralyzed over this. Combat. The new sand is about to turn red with blood. These new types of terrain will of course also make an appearance during combat. Behold the desert. Nice. Still, I mean, pretty much what you'd expect of a desert. I'd like to see a little more going on here, but whatever. An often requested feature for Battle Brothers is to betray any location that you're fighting at, such as graveyards or brigand camp. Also a tactical combat map. Fighting Wiener oh yeah, Weeder. Between fallen tombstones and not just empty plains can add a lot of atmosphere and flair that tighten the battle that will decide the future of your company. We're happy to announce that the Blazing Deserts DLC will produce a wealth of new locations based on environments in combat to make possible just that. That is so sweet. That is actually really, really cool. All right. Okay, so the combat system of Battle Brothers, one of its strongest features, as most of us will agree, was designed for small-scale infantry combat on open or mostly open maps, and that's where it works best. Having the odd fight in more enclosed environments, such as in forests, can shake things up every now and then in interesting ways, but doing this too much wears on a player's patience. For example, the initiative system that works well in open fields can become frustrating in tight quarters where 12 or more characters are constantly blocking each other. So with that in mind, let's now talk about environment based on location going to work. Oh, let's not go too far. Geez, I'm just going crazy here. Fighting brigands in their camp will bring dynamic to combat that is different from fighting them in open field. That's a good thing because it adds more variety to the combat in general, and because it adds another strategic dimension to the world map where you now have to weigh the pros and cons of luring an opponent out of their base or fighting them at home. But while there will be walls, palisades, and gravestones shaping some of the maps, we also won't turn every attack on brigand camp into a siege or a fight dense in forests of tents and barrels. It's not what the combat system was designed for, and consequentially, it wouldn't be fun. All combat will still take place outside, or most location-based objects are fact cosmetic, meaning that they'll provide a flavorful backdrop and tell a story of where you'll be fighting, but they won't get in your way and won't block your men from moving. On top of that, we'll be adding a smaller selection of objects which actually do block tiles, such as or to change the dynamic of the combat in a controlled way. For example, a brigand camp may be surrounded by palisades to create choke points, but there will be open spaces to both outside and inside for a proper battle. Okay, that's good at least. And while we take care to make sorry, I was just looking at that bottom part. Anyways, while we take care to make it a visual apparent apparent which objects block a tile from being entered, and which objects are merely cosmetic. We're also aware that it won't always be intuitively readable for everyone and in every situation. Again, it's a problem that you have already encountered when fighting in the woods. To alleviate this issue, we're introducing a new quality of life feature with free update that comes along with DLC. You'll be able to toggle at any time, highlighted in red all tiles that are blocked by environmental objects, such as trees, by pressing a button on the top right or by pressing a hotkey, useful for navigating new environments, any forest alike. Join us again next week for a very special announcement, blah, 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 blah. Yes. Whew. Can't breathe. So there's some things to dissect here, guys. They're pretty cool information. This isn't this isn't crazy. It's not overkill on the words and what they're trying to get across to us. Essentially they're making it so the environment is more immersive, and I wish they'd use that word. It's immersive in different ways, because you have to feel like you're in these environments. What they didn't tell us, however, looking into this, is the blistering hot deserts, rocky barren hills, towering seas of sand, and lush jungles to hug the coast. So they say that, but they're not saying like, does it consume more food? Does food go bad faster? That's one of the questions I have for this. Is there like, I'm trying to think, like, would dehydration somehow play a factor? That's kind of my initial thought. And, this is very barren. I imagine it's going to be kind of like going through snow. If you've ever ran in sand before, it's not that easy. You can move pretty quickly, but you're not as fast as you are in other environments. So I'm almost thinking that sand itself, and he even talks about that here, is just... let's see here. You'll be able to reach both them by traveling far south that your feet can carry you. Your feet can carry you. So I'm imagining when you're actually walking through here, it's going to be like walking through snow, walking on a higher terrain. It's going to slow down. You're moving through the desert is going to slow down significantly. And I'm not just talking like in combat. I'm talking like on the big map as well. So obviously here it does tell us that we're going to have a larger world. Now the auto saves in Iron Man mode will actually be faster thanks to the parallelization. Every time I go to say it quick, it always turns into paralyzed. I don't want to be paralyzed playing the game. That would be weird. Now the blood in the sands, I'm curious what that's going to look like. I wish they would have shown that instead of one of the skeletons here, of course. But again, cosmetically, it looks exactly what you'd expect with the desert. I do feel like the palm tree, for instance, is it looks kind of grainy, and I don't know, because like look at the armor here and then look over here. It could use a little bit of work, but that's not what this is about. I'm just saying that I feel like a little tightness to this textures might look a little better, but ultimately, yeah, I mean, it looks like you're in a desert, so there's nothing really special there. Now when we come down here, this is the part that matters the most. Like I say, skip all that other stuff, fine, throw it in the dirt, fine, but this is huge. The environments are going to look the part, okay? The environments matter. There's going to be more objects. What I see here is you're not going to be able to step on this. You won't step on that, or that. No, they said, you're going to be on cemetery, like it talks about that somewhere in here. But either way, you can step on some of these things. Luckily, this quality of life mod here was going to help out a lot. A lot of YouTubers, a lot of players themselves, people that just want to casually play it, being able to toggle this and see, well, I can't step on these things, makes sense. I mean, it does. I don't know if you're going to have any kind of tactical advantage by these things. That'd be kind of neat. For instance, kind of like a terrain thing. Like, how do I explain that? It's like if you step up on terrain, you have a bonus when you go to hit something. However, imagine if you stepped up on this, you had a better chance to hit something, but your range defense goes down a little bit. Why? Because you're an open target in the air. Now, them swinging at you are going to have a harder time hitting you, so maybe you have some slight advantage in that way as well. But I always think about like the barbarian camps. That's what I'm excited about. Think of barbarian camps. Imagine what that's going to look like. All the different beasts that they've killed. Just how it's laid out is going to be so unique. Or even like the necromancers, when they have, you go to the bigger necromancers hideouts or whatever they're called, and you see like the circle, the big circle with the X's and all that stuff, like summoning something. That type of thing would be cool. What if they add like mist? I mean, I'm seeing right here, looks like some mist. Imagine if mist rolls through the graveyard. That's, again, immersion is such a big thing for games, and an indie game like this, it's amazing. That little detail matters so much. And Noble Wars, you know, I don't know, just some sort of atmosphere of a camp of some sort would be awesome, especially in some of the final fights. Now I'm curious about the jungle. Oddly enough, they didn't add the jungle, which I'm wondering why. You added so many other things, but you didn't add a jungle for us to see. So that's going to be interesting. I don't really have much more than that, guys. The only other thing I can say is legendary locations. You go to some of the legendary locations, it's not going to be just a pit in the ground for the monolith. It's not going to be just, when you face the Gyork, or however you say it, it's technically by a lake when you look at the picture. And the tree. Now imagine if there was a tree that was hovered over and it was massive. Like, you know how big these maps actually are. Imagine if that legendary tree was hanging over right on the top of the map, and it's just, it's just towering. There's so many things, and maybe interactive environments, which is not talking about. The one thing I do say is nice is it's not going to be like all this stuff you can't go to. There's going to be way more choke points. I think of like D-Day. D-Day, you think of all the palisades that were out on the beach and how spread out they were, but could still be utilized. And I'm sure you're going to have fights like D-Day where you're outnumbered and you're running up and you're using the palisades to avoid the archers. Very cool things. So guys, thanks for coming out to the channel. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you stick around for this final part. Please leave comments in the comment section below. Talk back. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about what you guys think this could mean, some cool ideas that you'd like to see, and yeah, I don't know, whatever else. Every time that they come out with a new blog, I'm going to do this, kind of talk about it, what I want. I am a diehard Battle Brothers fan. I love Battle Brothers. I love Overhype Studios. I support them so much. And if you're just like me and you love this type of content, maybe hit the subscribe. Check out some of my other videos. I am pretty new to YouTube, only 2 months under my belt, but this is just, I don't know, this is just a blast for me to do. So thanks, guys. Smack that like around, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.